If you cry during arguments even when you're not actually hurt, listen up, because this isn't what you think it is. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're wired completely different from most people. And before we go deeper, if you want to understand why your brain works this way, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're about to dive into psychology that actually explains you. According to psychology, this is called emotional hypersensitivity. It's not a flaw. It's how your nervous system processes intensity. Your amygdala, the part of your brain that detects threats, fires faster and harder than most people's. For you, emotions don't whisper. They scream. Tears aren't weakness. They're your body hitting the release valve because the emotional overload is too much to contain internally. Your nervous system can't hold it, so it pushes it out. That's what crying is. It's overflow. Here's what nobody tells you. People like you possess deeper empathy than average. You pick up on micro expressions that others completely miss. Tone shifts, energy changes, facial micro movements that last half a second. Your brain registers all of it. Most people process emotions on the surface. You process them 5 layers deep. That's a gift. But it comes with a cost. Arguments feel heavier for you. Conflict cuts deeper. And crying becomes the only way your body knows how to regulate. Neurologically, when conflict happens, your limbic system floods your prefrontal cortex. That's the part responsible for logic. When emotions take over, rational thinking shuts down. Your body prioritizes survival. Tears are part of that response. It's not a choice. Your vagus nerve connects your brain to your tear ducts. During stress, it activates automatically. You can try not to cry, but your body overrides you. It's protecting you from emotional overwhelm. From a psychological perspective, this often stems from childhood. If you grew up in an environment where emotions were big or unpredictable, your nervous system learned to stay on high alert. It developed a pattern of reacting intensely to conflict, because conflict once meant danger. Even if you're safe now, your body remembers. It hasn't unlearned the response. This is called hypervigilance. Your brain scans for emotional cues constantly. A raised voice, a harsh tone, a shift in someone's face. All of it registers as threat. And when threat is detected, your body responds. Fight, flight, or freeze. For you, crying is part of that freeze response. It's not about being unable to handle the argument. It's about your system being overloaded. But here's the part most people don't realize. Crying during arguments doesn't mean you're losing. It means you care deeply. The relationship matters. The conversation matters. The outcome matters. People who don't cry aren't necessarily stronger. They're just less emotionally invested, or better at suppressing. Behaviorally, people who cry during conflict process emotions in real time. They don't compartmentalize well. They can't separate logic from feeling because their brain doesn't work that way. Everything is connected. A disagreement isn't just about the topic. It's about trust, safety, connection, fear of loss all at once. This is why arguments feel exhausting for you. You're not just debating a point. You're managing a full emotional storm inside your body. Your heart rate spikes. Your breathing gets shallow. Your muscles tense. And on top of all that, you're trying to articulate thoughts clearly while your brain is in crisis mode. From a social psychology standpoint, crying during arguments is influenced by how you were taught to express emotion. If crying was punished or mocked growing up, you feel shame when it happens. That shame compounds the intensity. You're not just upset about the argument. You're upset that you're crying. That creates a feedback loop. But if emotions were validated in your household, crying feels less shameful. It's just part of the process. Either way, your relationship with your own tears was built long before this argument started. It shapes how you experience conflict now. Interpersonally, crying shifts the dynamic. Some people see tears and soften. They feel compassion or a desire to de-escalate. Others see tears and escalate. They interpret crying as manipulation or weakness. Neither interpretation is accurate. Tears are just information. They're not a strategy. They're a symptom. The truth is, People who cry during arguments often have higher emotional intelligence. They're more attuned to their own feelings and the feelings of others. They notice when something's wrong before it becomes obvious. They sense tension before it explodes. This makes them incredible at connection, but it also makes them vulnerable to overload. Research shows that people with heightened emotional sensitivity have more active mirror neuron systems. These are brain cells that let you feel what others feel. When someone is angry, you don't just hear it. You feel it in your body. When someone is hurt, you absorb that pain. This is why arguments hit you harder. You're not just experiencing your own emotions, you're processing theirs too. And that's exhausting. After an argument, you don't just need space, you need recovery time. Your nervous system has been through a full activation cycle. It takes hours, sometimes days, to fully calm down. Meanwhile, the other person might move on in minutes. They weren't carrying the same emotional load. Their system didn't spike the same way. That difference in processing speed causes a lot of misunderstandings. They think you're overreacting. You think they don't care. Physiologically, chronic emotional intensity leads to allostatic load. That's the wear and tear on your body from repeated stress. When you cry during arguments frequently, it's a sign your system is under strain. Not because you're broken, because you're carrying more than your nervous system was designed to handle alone. This is where regulation strategies matter. Deep breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the part that calms you down. Grounding techniques help pull you out of emotional overwhelm. Taking breaks during heated conversations gives your amygdala time to settle. But here's what most advice gets wrong. You don't need to stop crying. You need to understand why it happens and communicate that to people. When you can say, "I'm crying because my body processes intensity this way," not because you're wrong, you shift the narrative. You take the shame out of it, because the goal isn't to become someone who doesn't cry. The goal is to build relationships with people who understand that tears don't mean collapse. They mean depth. They mean you feel things fully. And in a world where so many people are disconnected from their emotions, that's not weakness, it's capacity. Psychologically, people who suppress emotions during conflict pay for it later. They develop physical symptoms, headaches, stomach issues, chronic tension. Their body keeps the score even when they refuse to feel it in the moment. You release in real time. It's uncomfortable, but it's honest. Your body isn't storing unprocessed emotion. It's moving it through. That doesn't mean every tear is healthy. If you're crying constantly, in every conflict, with every person, that might signal dysregulation. It might mean past trauma is bleeding into present moments. It might mean you need support or therapy to build more capacity. But if you cry sometimes, during intense or meaningful conflicts, with people you care about, that's not pathology. That's humanity. That's what it looks like when someone is emotionally present and willing to be vulnerable, even when it's hard. Developmentally, how you cry during arguments now links to how you were allowed to express emotion as a child. If caregivers comforted you when you cried, you learned that tears are safe. If they ignored or punished you, you learned that tears are dangerous. That early wiring still runs in the background. It shows up most intensely in conflict, because conflict activates attachment systems built in childhood. This is why arguments with romantic partners feel more intense than arguments with coworkers. With a partner, attachment is on the line. Your brain isn't just processing the disagreement. It's scanning for signs of rejection or abandonment. When it detects those signs, even faintly, your system floods. Tears follow. Relationally, the people who handle your tears best don't take them personally. They don't see crying as accusation or manipulation. They see it as communication. They pause. They soften. They ask what you need. They give you space without leaving. Those are the people worth keeping close. The people who make your tears about them, who get defensive or dismissive, who tell you to calm down or stop being dramatic. Those people don't have capacity to hold your emotional reality. That's not your fault. It's a mismatch. You need someone who can sit with intensity. They need someone who stays calm. Neither is wrong, but together you'll struggle. Cognitively, People who cry during arguments often have racing thoughts. Their mind moves faster than their words. They're thinking 10 steps ahead, predicting outcomes, imagining worst cases. And while doing all that, they're also trying to articulate their point clearly. It's cognitive overload. Tears are the system saying, "This is too much, I need a break." This is why pausing during arguments matters. Not to avoid the conversation, to let your brain catch up to your body. When you take 5 minutes or an hour, you give your prefrontal cortex time to come back online. You give yourself a chance to think clearly instead of just reacting. From a trauma-informed perspective, crying during arguments can be a somatic response. If you experienced emotional or verbal abuse in the past, your body learned that raised voices mean danger. Even if the current argument is safe, your body doesn't know that. It just knows the tone feels familiar, and familiar means threat. This is called a trauma trigger. It's not about the present. It's about the past bleeding through. The only way to shift it is through nervous system healing, therapy, somatic work, EMDR. Anything that helps your body learn that conflict doesn't always mean harm. Socially, people who cry during arguments are labeled too sensitive. But sensitivity isn't the problem. The problem is a culture that values emotional suppression over emotional honesty. A culture that sees tears as weakness instead of communication. A culture that rewards people who stay calm even when they're disconnected from feelings. But that's changing. More people recognize that emotional intelligence and emotional honesty are strengths. They build real connection. They create depth in relationships. People who cry during arguments have that. They just need environments that value it instead of punishing it. Emotionally, crying during arguments also reveals something about your values. You value harmony. You value being understood. You value resolution. When those things feel threatened, your body reacts. People who don't cry might not value those things as much, or they've learned to detach from them. Neither approach is better. They're just different strategies for navigating conflict. But understanding your strategy helps you communicate it. When you know why you cry, you can explain it. And when you can explain it, others can meet you there, practically. If you cry during arguments, there are things you can do to manage it. First, name what's happening. Say out loud, "I'm feeling overwhelmed right now." That simple acknowledgement can reduce the intensity. Second, take a break if you need it. There's no rule that says you have to finish the argument in one sitting. Third, breathe deeply. It sounds simple, but deep breathing physically calms your nervous system. It signals to your body that you're safe. Fourth, validate yourself. Remind yourself that crying doesn't mean you're wrong or weak. It means you're human. Fifth, communicate your needs. If you need reassurance during the argument, ask for it. If you need space, take it. If you need the other person to lower their voice or soften their tone, tell them. Most people want to help. They just don't know how unless you guide them. Sixth, build nervous system capacity outside of arguments. Exercise, meditation, therapy, cold exposure, anything that teaches your body to handle stress without flooding. The more regulated you are in general, the less intense your reactions will be during conflict. Seventh, choose your battles. Not every disagreement needs to be addressed immediately. Some things can wait until you're calmer. Some things aren't worth the emotional cost. Learning to discern between the two saves you a lot of unnecessary overwhelm. Eighth, surround yourself with people who get it. People who don't shame you for crying. People who see your sensitivity as a strength. People who create space for your emotions instead of shutting them down. Those relationships will change how you experience conflict entirely. Biologically, crying releases oxytocin and endorphins. These are natural painkillers. They soothe your nervous system. So crying isn't just an emotional release, it's a physical one. Your body is literally trying to help you feel better. This is why you often feel calmer after crying. The storm has passed. Your system has regulated. You can think more clearly. You can communicate more effectively. Crying isn't the problem. It's part of the solution. Historically, Crying was seen as a sign of weakness, especially for men. But that narrative is outdated. Modern psychology recognizes crying as a healthy emotional response. It's a sign of emotional awareness, not emotional instability. People who never cry aren't stronger. They're often more disconnected. They've learned to suppress or ignore their emotions. That might work short-term, but long-term, it leads to bigger problems. Unprocessed emotions don't disappear. They go underground. They show up as anxiety, depression, physical illness, or relational dysfunction. You, on the other hand, process in real time. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, but it's honest. And honesty, even when it's hard, is always better than suppression. Contextually, the way people respond to your tears tells you a lot about them. If someone gets angry when you cry, they're probably uncomfortable with emotions in general. If someone dismisses your tears, they probably learn to dismiss their own. If someone comforts you, they probably have emotional capacity and empathy. Pay attention to those responses. They're data. They tell you who can handle your emotional reality and who can't. And that information is valuable when deciding who to let close. Evolutionarily, crying served a purpose. It signaled distress to the group. It invited connection and support. In modern times, we've lost some of that communal response. We're expected to regulate alone. But humans weren't designed to do that. We're social creatures. We need each other, especially in moments of emotional intensity. So if you cry during arguments, you're not failing at being human. You're doing exactly what humans are supposed to do. You're signaling that you need support. The question is whether the people around you know how to respond. Therapeutically, working with a professional can help you understand your crying patterns. A therapist can help you identify triggers, build coping strategies, and heal past wounds that contribute to emotional flooding. There's no shame in getting support. It's one of the smartest things you can do. Practically speaking, some people cry more than others because of brain chemistry. Serotonin levels affect emotional regulation. Lower serotonin can mean more intense emotional responses. This isn't something you can willpower your way through. It's biochemistry, and sometimes medication can help balance that. But even if brain chemistry plays a role, that doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you might need additional support. Therapy, medication, lifestyle changes, whatever helps you feel more regulated and less overwhelmed. There's also a gender component to this. Women are socialized to express emotions more openly. Men are taught to suppress them. So women who cry during arguments are seen as emotional. Men who cry during arguments are seen as weak. Both judgments are wrong. Both are rooted in outdated gender norms. The reality is that crying has nothing to do with gender, and everything to do with nervous system wiring. Some people have more reactive nervous systems. Some have less. That's biology, not identity. If you're a man who cries during arguments, you're not less masculine. You're just more in touch with your emotions than most men were taught to be. And that's actually a strength in relationships. Women consistently report wanting partners who can be emotionally vulnerable. Crying is part of that vulnerability. If you're a woman who cries during arguments, you're not being dramatic or manipulative. You're having a normal human response to emotional intensity. The people who label you dramatic are often the ones who are emotionally shut down. Don't let their discomfort become your shame. Neurochemically, stress hormones like cortisol spike during arguments. When cortisol floods your system, it triggers your tear ducts. This is why you can go from calm to crying in seconds. It's not that you're unstable. It's that your body is responding to a chemical surge. Cortisol also impairs your ability to think clearly. This is why you sometimes can't find the right words during an argument. Your brain is prioritizing survival over articulation. Tears help release some of that cortisol, which is why you often feel clearer after crying. From an attachment theory perspective, people with anxious attachment styles tend to cry more during arguments. They're hypersensitive to signs of disconnection. Their nervous system is constantly scanning for rejection. When they detect it, even subtly, they flood. People with avoidant attachment styles tend to shut down during arguments. They disconnect emotionally to protect themselves. Neither response is better. They're just different adaptations to early relational experiences. If you have an anxious attachment style, understanding that can help you manage your reactions. You're not overreacting. You're reacting based on old wiring, and that wiring can be updated with awareness and practice. Somatically, crying is a full-body experience. Your chest tightens, your throat constricts, your eyes burn, your breathing changes. All of this is your autonomic nervous system in action. It's not under your conscious control. It's happening to you, not because of you. When you understand this, it takes the shame out of crying. You're not choosing to cry. Your body is choosing for you, and your body is doing what it thinks is best to protect you from overwhelm. In relationships, the ability to cry during arguments can actually be a bonding experience. When you show vulnerability, you invite the other person to show up for you. If they do, it deepens trust. If they don't, it reveals a limitation in the relationship. So crying isn't just about you. It's about the dynamic between you and the other person. It's a test of emotional safety. Can this person hold space for my emotions? Or do they need me to be calm for them to feel comfortable? The answer to that question tells you everything you need to know about the relationship's capacity for depth. Shallow relationships can't handle tears. Deep relationships can. Practically, one strategy that helps is to name your emotions before they escalate. If you feel yourself getting upset, say it. I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. I need a minute. That gives you control before your body takes over. Another strategy is to have arguments in writing when possible. Texting or emailing removes the intensity of face-to-face conflict. It gives you time to regulate before responding. For some people, this is a game changer. But for others, writing feels cold or disconnected. They need the face-to-face interaction to feel heard. Know which type you are. Adjust your conflict style accordingly. Also, understand your crying triggers. Is it raised voices? Feeling misunderstood? Fear of abandonment? Criticism? Once you know your triggers, you can communicate them. You can say, when you raise your voice, I shut down. Can we keep our tone level? Most people will adjust if you tell them what you need. They're not trying to make you cry. They just don't know what overwhelms you. Scientifically, emotional tears contain different chemicals than reflex tears. Emotional tears release stress hormones. So when you cry during an argument, you're literally releasing stress from your body. It's a detox mechanism. This is why holding back tears can make you feel worse. You're keeping those stress hormones trapped inside. Letting them out through crying actually helps you regulate faster. From a mindfulness perspective, observing your tears without judgment can reduce their intensity. Instead of thinking, I shouldn't be crying, think, I'm crying right now, and that's okay. That shift in self-talk changes everything. When you stop fighting your tears, they lose some of their power. They're just tears. They don't define you. They don't make you weak. They're just water leaving your eyes because your body is overwhelmed. In therapy, clients who cry during sessions often make the most progress. Crying means they're accessing real emotion. They're not intellectualizing or avoiding. They're feeling. And feeling is where healing happens. So if you cry during arguments, you're actually closer to resolution than people who stay calm. You're in your emotions, which means you can work through them. People who suppress emotions can't work through what they won't feel. Energetically, crying shifts the emotional charge in the room. It breaks tension. It invites softness. It humanizes the conflict. When one person cries, the other person usually drops their defenses, at least a little. This is why some therapists encourage couples to let one person cry during sessions. It creates an opening for empathy. It reminds both people that they're not enemies. They're two humans struggling to connect. Culturally, different communities have different relationships with crying. Some cultures see crying as cathartic and healthy. Others see it as shameful. If you grew up in a culture that shamed crying, You're fighting two battles, the emotional one and the cultural one. But you get to decide what crying means for you. You don't have to carry your culture's shame. You can redefine crying as strength, as honesty, as humanity. And when you do that, it changes your relationship with your own tears. If you're in a relationship with someone who cries during arguments, here's what they need from you. Don't tell them to calm down. Don't dismiss their tears. Don't make it about you. Just be present. Ask what they need. Give them space to feel without judgment. That's it. That's all it takes. And if you can do that, you'll build a relationship where emotions are safe, where vulnerability is welcomed, where crying doesn't mean collapse. It means connection. If you resonated with this, comment strength below and follow for more psychology that turns your sensitivity into your superpower. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, because chances are they've been told their whole life that crying is weakness, and it's time they learned the truth. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we're just getting started with content that actually explains how your mind works.